Hello, everyone, and welcome to Print All the Things Episode 1. This is a brand new podcast that I, Bwana, will be putting together. I'm going to be trying to be doing this every week, and the purpose of this podcast is to talk about 3D printing. And you're probably wondering why 3D printing. Let me give you a brief history as to what happened with me in 3D printing. Around this time last year, in March of 2021, I was introduced to 3D printing, and I purchased a Prusa Mini, and there are stories behind all this stuff. I'm going to try to keep it brief as possible. I purchased a Prusa Mini, and I got a partially assembled kit, not a full-blown kit, but a partially assembled one. And it took me a few hours to put it together. I was being very careful with it. And I didn't want to break anything. And I was fascinated by the idea of taking a model from software and clicking a button, or just, saving it as a G code to a file, and putting it in the machine and pressing the button. And then all of a sudden this plastic starts melting. And a few hours later you have an object. And to me, that was one of the most fascinating periods in my life when it came to making things and just tinkering with things, because all throughout my life, it was either one or the other. It was either I would make something with my hands, like it could be made out of wood or clay, or I would put some kind of a model kit together and I would, screw parts in together, blah, 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 and build something. That was satisfying. Or I would go into software, or I would create a program. I would write some software. I would make a game. I would play a game. I would write a web page. I would write, all these things that I would create in software, and they would exist in software. This was the first time that I married software and hardware together. And it was easy. It didn't take a lot of work. Now, there was other things that you can do out there that, combine software and hardware to make physical objects, right? But to me, the fascination with 3D printing is that I was able to do this with relative ease. I took a sample file that was included with the Prusa Mini. It was I think it was a lug nut. And I said, okay, I want to print that. And a bunch of things started calibrating. I was like, ooh, that's cool. That's cool. Things started calibrating. Things started moving. And then all of a sudden, a few hours later, I was like holding it. And I was like, it wasn't even an hour. I think it was like maybe an hour and a half. I don't even know. And I was holding it, and I'll never forget that feeling. I was like, I can't believe this. And it was easy. It was really, really easy. So I fell in love with 3D printing ever since then. And I'm going to tell the stories of all the stuff in between eventually, but I think I'm going to leave it at that because I can talk about that for an hour or two. And several months later, I now have 4 printers. I have 3 Prusa Minis and 1 Prusa MK3S, and I'm now operating a business where I sell my 3D prints on Etsy. So that all happened in the span of, it hasn't even been a year yet. And I am grateful that I got introduced to it. And there's a lot of great people in the community that helped me out. And like I said, I'm not going to name names and get into specifics because I'll go down story lane and down these rat holes, and eventually I'll talk about these stories. But several people helped me along the journey, and it was actually pretty amazing, and it still is amazing. I'm 3D print daily now on top of the orders that I get from my shop. I 3D print just for fun, and it's very cool. I'm currently just in the world of Prusa. I have 3 Prusa Minis, like I said, and an MK3S, but I am interested in eventually learning other types of printing. I also own a resin printer. I have an Elegoo Mars Pro 2, which I haven't unboxed and set up yet because I still have to buy some other things to go along with it, like mats and scrapers and actual resin. And I have to find a place in my house to set it up and everything. So we got this a few months ago, and it's been sitting in a box, and I haven't unboxed it yet. So I do eventually plan to get into resin printing. And you best believe that when I do talk about resin printing and get into resin printing here on this show, we will talk about all the adventures and document it and show as much as we can. So the format of this show is going to be primarily geared towards audio. You probably say, well, Bwana, I see your face. Hi, how you doing? I am going to have a video component to this, and I'm going to be doing post edits of the audio that I'm talking about now, and I'll add some stuff to it, some flair, some shots and stuff. But my primary means of mechanism is going to be audio. I'm going to be talking as if you're listening to me while you're heading to work, or you're doing something at work, or you're at home, or you're busy cleaning something and you need something to listen to in the background, and you just happen to enjoy 3D printing. So this is my roots. I started in audio before I got into video, so I'm very familiar with the realm of audio, and I think I'm going to stick with that until things change. But don't be afraid. We are going to put a lot of effort into making the video quality and the video experience just as good. I mean, you can open the video in a new tab, or you can just have it open and watch it while you're eating or while you're doing something else at the house. So that's the format. And I do plan to have guests on the show. And this is something that I will look at doing possibly once a month, or maybe at the most twice a month, just to give people time and to fit into everyone's schedules, and even my schedule, to make sure that we get things going. I don't want to do something every week because that would be a little bit stressful, but I do want to do a show every week. I don't think a show every week will be too much to ask. Even if I just talk about what I've printed for the week, it doesn't have to be anything special in the news or anything like that. So Print All the Things is going to be just about that. Print all the things. I don't know if I'm going to call it patt, P-A-T-T, or what, but Print All the Things is something, it's a statement that I say on my live stream all the time. And I even have a sound effect for it called Print All the Things. And that's the name of the show. I think it makes the most sense, because when I first got the printer, when I first got the 3D printers and I got the equipment, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to go and print everything I saw. It was a great feeling, because I was going through Thingiverse at the time, and I was looking at My Mini Factory, a couple other sites. Some people showed me Yegi.com, and I was just like, I want to print that. 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 And several people asked me, Bwana, what are you going to print first? I'm like, I don't know. Are you going to print spaceships from Elite Dangerous, or anything from Cowboy Bebop? Because we know you really like that anime. Or are you going to print some busts from Marvel? Or are you going to do this? Are you going to print Incredible Hulk? All these things that you like. And it was a wave of just a positive overwhelmingness that I just wanted to print all the things. I just wanted to print everything. To me, there wasn't enough filament in the world to satisfy that hunger. So that's what you should expect. Frequency should be about once a week. We're going to be printing all the things. So currently, I'm going to be showcasing and talking about prints. And with those prints is going to be coupled with modelers. These people actually design the models. They go into software, whether it be Blender or I don't know, you can be Tinkercad, I don't know. They go into software and they create these models. So if I'm creating a model of I don't know, if I'm printing a model of a Stormtrooper, for example, a Stormtrooper Mini model, there's a modeler by the name of Wexter, who I subscribe to on Patreon, who made that model. So we'll be talking about Wexter. We'll be talking about what he's done and things like that when we talk about his model. I'll be promoting these modelers. The ones that I support, and even ones I don't support that I have printed, or I have seen some of the prints that they've done, or the models that they've done. I will talk about and support them, because I'm a firm believer that without these modelers, I wouldn't have anything to print, because my modeling skills are very minimal. I don't have a lot of skills in that department. So I rely on them to create these gorgeous models so that I can print and hold in my hand these gorgeous models. So we'll be talking about various modelers out there. The current ones that I'm subscribed to are Wexter, Eastman, and Hex 3D. That's all I can afford at the moment, because you have to pay to be a part and support their Patreons. And I mainly pay these individuals not only because I love their work, but I do want to purchase licenses that they offer to sell their work on Etsy. as part of my business is that I'm selling models, printed models, and these modelers were generous enough to offer permission and licenses to sell those models on Etsy. So I use their Patreon as sort of stock to sell on the shop. And there's several others out there. There's not only these three. Trust me, if I had the funds, you would see me subscribe to probably at least 15, 20 different modelers off the top of my head, because there's so many talented modelers out there that do great work and they deserve to be supported. So I really believe in them starting a Patreon and getting paid for their work, because I think their work is worth money. I really do. I think that's just the quality that they offer. So we'll be talking about those modelers. That's going to be one of the things we'll be discussing each week. If we bring up a model, if we talk about a print or some modeler out there, we'll be giving background information. If we talk about a print, we're going to talk about the modeler. They're going to be coupled. We're not going to separate the two. They're always going to be talked about. Now, we're also going to be talking about filaments, because there's several modelers out there, but there's also several filament companies out there. I happen to be affiliated with a couple. I'm affiliated with Filament One, and I'm also affiliated with Polymaker. Those are two that I'm affiliated with on my Twitch channel and all of my social media stuff. And you'll see me talking about Polymaker and Filament One and PrintedSolid and PrushaMint from Prusha, Matter Hackers and Atomic Filament and Hatchbox. And these are brands that I have used personally, but that isn't to say that I'm not going to talk about other brands out there, because there are other brands that I haven't tried and I haven't used yet. So I do expect to try new brands and discuss and talk about my experiences with them on this show. So you can expect to hear about filament here as well. And finally, hopefully, we'll get to talk about different printers. At the moment, I'm a Prusa guy. I have nothing but Prusas. But I'm looking at other models like Focus, and I'm looking at other, maybe possibly an Ender here and there. I have Elgu. There's Anycubic printers out there. There's so many models and so many name brands to choose from. And I'm not afraid to try them. Because, people tend to assume that I'm only Prusa because I use them for my business. And I have a good reason for that. But I am willing to try other printers. And, as time allows, I'll have to procure the printer, come up with the funds to get the printer and then put it together and go through the process and film myself trying to put it together and talking about all the different things about it. So it's going to be a time-consuming process. So don't expect a printer review every week. That's something that'll come later, and there'll be time gaps in between each one. So those will be few and far in between in terms of talking about the actual printers and how they work. Now, printer news, like say if a new part comes out or a new printer model comes out, or like, for example, Prusa is going to have the XL, and I've already pre-ordered it. So when I receive that, we'll be talking about that. Also, there could be new models announced by vendors out there, and I'll talk about those. I don't necessarily have to have them in my hands to discuss the specs and my speculation on how they'll behave, and with my knowledge, what I think about them from my perspective and my point of view. So these are all the things that you'll see on all the things that are printed and 3D printed, and printed all the things that are being printed. You got that? I don't as well. So what's going to be our topic for today? It's going to be a very simple one, because I want to spend most of this episode talking about the format of the show. But we're going to talk about the PrintedSolid Jessie subscription box that I received a few days ago. And this one was the very first filament box that I've ever gotten from from PrintedSolid. If you don't know what these are, several filament vendors out there, they offer a monthly subscription surprise box. And what they offer in these boxes are several rolls, maybe 1 to 2 1 kilogram spools, or maybe 4 or 5 500-gram spools of these sample colors that you can try. So it's sort of like a loot crate, if you will. If you've ever heard the company Loot Crate, they send you a box of something and you open it, and people do YouTube videos of the unboxing and everybody loves it, right? So I want to do something similar today, talking about the PrintedSolid Jessie subscription box that I just got. And it came with 2 colors. The first color is mixtape number 14. And David Randolph over at PrintedSolid, he included a nice note kind of giving you a backstory on each one of these filaments. And the backstory for the mixtape 14, I'm not gonna spoil everything because I know some of you may not even open it or received it yet. But the name of the color is neon brown. Yeah. Neon brown, and there's a very nice story behind that. So I encourage you, if you do have the subscription box, to read the story, the backstory behind neon brown. And also we have another neon color, neon green. And I was very excited to see that because there are several things that I wanted to print in that color. So I was happy to actually receive that color. So here's what I've done so far. And I'm pretty happy with the outcome so far. We have printed articulated Jabba the Hutt. This is by Wexter, and Wexter does. He's famous for doing his minis, but he's very, very, very talented in the realm of doing busts and doing all types of really great models that mimic the real world and comic book characters and different, you know, fictional stuff that we follow. It could be Star Wars related, it could be Marvel related, it could be DC, it could be all kinds of stuff. So any type of fandom, Wexter is very good at. He's got a Patreon over at patreon.com/Wexter, which I am a member, and he was the very first person that I subscribed to on there. So it was very actually cool to see him do this. He did for the very first time an articulated Jabba the Hutt, and articulated means that it has moving parts. So it has a tail that actually moves, and it's a print in place model. So you don't have to print parts. You don't have to, you know, print bars or different types of things to stick in different holes or anything. It all prints in place, and you just lift it off the plate and you're done. So we printed that in the neon brown because Jabba the Hutt is brown. I showed it to my wife, and she said in so many words, "That looks like feces." But she didn't say feces. She said poop. She didn't curse or anything. So don't worry about that. She said, "That looks like poop." And I'm like, "It does." And I was like, yes, because that's exactly what I was going for. Jabba the Hutt is a giant turd. Pardon my French. He is. He's a giant talking turd. And the color fit him perfectly. So I thought that was kind of hilarious that she said that. And it actually made a lot of sense. The other thing I printed was Deadpool from Eastman, and you can go to Eastman's Patreon at patreon.com/Eastman. I first found Eastman on My Mini Factory because he had a Darth Vader bust that really caught my eye. You know which one I'm talking about. It's a very, very high quality Darth Vader bust, and I was like, wow, this is great. And then I went to look at his other models, and he had Thanos, he had a bunch of Marvel characters, he had a bunch of Star Wars characters. I was like, oh, so good. So I subscribed to his Patreon at patreon.com/Eastman, and I haven't been disappointed. Top tier models. I'm printing Deadpool, and you probably have seen this model all over the place because it's a very popular model. People love this model everywhere. This is a support-free version, and you can actually find this on on PrushaPrinters.org. He actually put it up there. So you don't have to actually go behind the Patreon paywall to get access to this one. This one, I believe, is on PrushaPrinters.org. If it is, I will put the link in the show descriptions. If it's not, I'll put an apology that I was wrong, and you guys can all sit and laugh at me. And finally, for the neon green, we are printing a articulated slug. And I saw this on Loyal Moses' live stream. I believe it was last night being Monday, February 21st. They were printing an articulated slug, and it's an actual slug that is articulated much like the Jabba the Hutt slug. And I thought that was cool because my emote, because I have a global emote on Twitch, is Brain Slug. If you ever watched Futurama, there was an episode regarding brain slugs and how they would attach to your head and they would get you to do whatever you want. And we used to joke in our community that when we got addicted to a video game, that video game was our brain slug, and it would tell us what to do instead of the other way around. And we would joke that, hey, the brain slug strikes again. So that's where brain slug came from. And it's my global emote, and it is neon green. The actual emote is neon green, and it resembles the Futurama version. So I was like, I got to print that, and I got to print it in neon green. And here we are. We have it right now, printed in neon green. And I think it came out okay. Right now, it was as of this recording, it's about 75% done. We're going to assume that it's going to finish completely. So when I go in and post and I edit this, that you'll see a completed slug. If it's not, if it's broken, then you're going to be really, really happy that I'm looking really stupid right now because it actually failed. And I'm talking like it actually did. Anyway, you get the idea. But these are the two filaments that came from PrintedSolid Jessie subscription box that you can get over at PrintedSolid.com. And the spots are very, very limited. You have no idea how long I've been trying to get this. I think since the second month since I've had my printer, I've been trying to sign up for this subscription box. And it's always sold out. Always sold out. And last month, I finally saw that there was a spot open, and I jumped right on it. I didn't even check my bank account. I was just like, oh, yeah. And I just got it. That was the noise I made, by the way. And I just got it. So they actually came in yesterday or the day before. I don't remember which day. It was a couple of days ago. And I have plans for the neon green. I'm going to print a Minecraft creeper in the neon green. I think that'll be fun. It seems like the neon green can be just about anything. The brown, though, I don't know. The brown may not work with everything, but I'm going to be looking for more things to print. And if you guys got ideas, feel free to comment on these episodes, whether they be on YouTube or on Anchor or wherever. Comment and let me know, or you can come in our Discord at discord.gg/Bwana. Comment and let me know, what do you want me to print? I'll take suggestions. If you don't even have to link to STL. You can just say, print the articulated dragon, and I'll know exactly what you're talking about, and I'll go print it. I've printed several of the articulated dragons, by the way. Or print Boba Fett, or print the Mandalorian, or print whatever. Could be anything. Just give me your suggestions. I love them. I love to take suggestions. I love to print what you guys have for me out there. So that's going to conclude episode 1 of Print All the Things, episode 1. That's going to conclude episode 1 of Print All the Things, episode 1. And I'm aiming for a 20 to 30 minute show, and it looks like we've been going about that, so this is perfect. The purpose of this episode, again, was to just give you a history of me and my backstory with printing, what to expect from the show going forward, the format, what things we're going to stress, and, possible special guests coming very, very soon. So I've already talked to a couple people, and hopefully we'll get some more on deck, and we can schedule for, once a week or twice a week. I don't know. Sort of a frequency. I'm thinking once a week, and then we can have the guests like maybe once a month. Twice a week could happen if there's a lot going on. I have no problem recording these, and I have to make time to, edit the video. The video takes longer than the audio, obviously, but still, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. This is going to be under my Bwana Tech Talks umbrella on Anchor.fm. We're going to be throwing all of my tech podcasts under that umbrella. And if you want to subscribe there, you can use Spotify, and it can aggregate out to Apple, to Google, whatever podcatcher you have, straight RSS if you have an old school podcatcher, which is a piece of software that can subscribe, and you can be notified when I do a new episode, and it'll automatically download it to your device, whether it be PC, whether it be a phone, or whatever. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And that concludes episode 1. And please consider joining my Patreon at patreon.com/Bwana. That's where you can support all things Bwana. That's the name of our community, actually, all things Bwana. Patreon.com. If you want to support me on my Twitch endeavors, if you want to support me on my YouTube endeavors, if you want to support me now in the podcasting endeavors, patreon.com/Bwana. You can find the package that you like. We are offering a mug on certain packages. I'm trying to make this thing more attractive, but right now you can get a coffee mug at certain tiers on the Patreon. Thank you again for listening, And I'll see you all next episode. And remember, print all the things.